Welcome in, everybody, to the Christmas Eve episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast, joined by your host, Devin, as always, joined by my co-host, Jaden, and we're excited to get into this episode. We're in the joyful spirit. We're going to be showing some love, giving some flowers to some underrated players, teams, coaches, whatever it may be around the league. So I'm super stoked to get into it. We're fully in the Christmas spirit. I'm so excited for Christmas Eve. I got my Christmas shopping done, finally. Wrapped up this past weekend. This is my first year where I'm getting everybody in my family a gift, including, cousins, boyfriends, this and that. So I think I have close to 20 people I'm getting a gift for. So I spent a lot of money, and I don't expect to do this again, in the following years. I think I'm going to just do a few gifts here and there. We do Secret Santa, which is a good thing that maybe I'll just leave it at that and chill out on the whole gift giving. But I wanted to do it at least 1 year. It's a cool thing to do, give everybody a gift, make everybody happy. But enough of that. You guys know how we start these episodes start these episodes with my main man, Jaden. What do you got for us for Pregame Talk today?
All right. So today's Pregame Talk, it's going to revolve around a little bit of Twitter discourse I've been seeing. I was going to save it for off the field, but I know we got a little good amount to talk about in off the field, so I'll just incorporate it now. And it has to do with I don't know if you've seen this going around. It's the whose career would you rather have, as it's currently going, Tom Holland or Timothy Chalamet?
I have not seen that, but that's
you haven't.
And it's
but you understand the context of the question, and for our viewers, some better explanation. Tom Holland. He's an actor. He's like a blockbuster actor. He's in the more how do I want to say this? He's in the more bigger franchise films. Yeah. He's kind of known as not the most rangy kind of actor. And then Timothy Chalamet, on the other hand, he's the more serious actor. He's some people call him the DiCaprio of our generation. He takes on more serious roles and, more of a rangy actor. And so I kind of wanted to translate this into NFL terms for you and give you a couple scenarios, and I want to know which one would you rather pick.
Okay. I'm picking a career path?
Basically,
is what this is? Okay.
With how their careers have gone or are going. I guess have gone. I guess most of these people's, or all of these questions, all of their careers are pretty much done with.
Done. Okay. Because I was going to ask, is it like a projection thing also?
It's not a projection. These ones in particular that I made, I realized not really projection, just what they did in their carear. It was kind of hard to do this with the NFL. So I tried, to the best of my abilities. And this is also assuming that they, you make the same amount of money. They've made the same amount of money in both, in their careers. Because Tom Holland and Timothy Chalamet, I looked it up, they have around the same net worth. So it's not like picking one. It's like, I'm getting all this money with the other, all this stuff. So
right.
All right, let's get into it. So the first one I got as Tom Holland is going to be Chris Jones, and then Timothy Chalamet, TJ Watt. Whose career would you rather have?
And you're saying I'm factoring in like everything, like money, situation?
No, money's not factored in.
Rings.
They made the same amount.
Oh,
so they both made the same amount. So it's just career, what they've done in their careers, yes.
Okay. So I can see where you're going with this because obviously Chris Jones has the 3 Super Bowl rings, has all pros, has a great career. And then on the opposite end, TJ Watt is, without a doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the better edge rushers that we've seen. Obviously doesn't have the playoff success. Does TJ Watt have a playoff win? I don't think he does.
I don't think so.
Because I don't think the Steelers have won a playoff game, and I'm trying to think since like Ben Roethlisberger, but that was like 2017, 2016-ish. And obviously TJ was a rookie in 18.
I thought he was rookie in 17.
Was it 18 or 17?
I believe it's 17.
Okay, that was it 17? I thought he shared a draft class with Allen and Lamar, but maybe I'm tripping.
I think he was before that because Tack McKinley, 2017. Right? Yeah, I believe so. Yes,
that makes sense.
Tack McKinley, obviously, Falcons picked him over TJ Watt. But anyways,
I think this might be the trend for me with all of these. I think I'm going to go TJ Watt, and it could be selfish. I think TJ Watt is without a doubt the better player. Obviously, Chris Jones has the playoff success, the Super Bowls, but if you're saying would I rather without a doubt be a better player and be on a, have these records that I'm breaking. I mean, TJ Watt has obviously he tied the sack record, I want to say. He was like the fastest to 100 sacks, the least amount of games or something like that. Like he's broken some crazy records and done some great things in his career. And same with Chris Jones, but obviously they're different tiers despite Chris Jones still being elite in his prime. I think if you go prime for prime, I think TJ Watt is just in another tier. And I think me personally, if I had to choose, I think I value that. I'd rather just be the best player that I can be, especially considering football is such a team sport. Like there's not much one player can do. So I think I would go TJ Watt here for sure. So I'll go the Timothy Chalamet route on this one.
Okay. And that's the thing. The Timothy Chalamet player is always gonna be
the overall better
looked
player.
at as usually the overall better player. It's just the other one will probably have the more success in their career.
Okay. Let's see what's next.
All right, and that's not even fair to Timothy and Tonga's. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
Not necessarily more success, but just the more known player, I guess. Even then, I guess Chris Jones isn't more known.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to best
I get you.
Next one, I got Julian Edelman or T.Y. Hilton.
Okay. Julian Edelman, T.Y. I think this one I'm going to flip, even though what I just said last time, I think you obviously look at prime for prime, peak for peak. T.Y. Hilton, obviously, I want to say he led the league in receiving yards. I believe it was that 2014 year. I think I would go Edelman, though. I mean, he's got some historically great playoff runs and playoff games. Edelman has, 3 Super Bowl rings also? I want to say
3 Super Bowl rings and a Super Bowl MVP.
And an MVP, And I think what differs for this one, T.Y. didn't have an incredible peak. Like, let's say you put instead of T.Y.
See, I did have somebody else, but I feel like after your first answer and how you said it, I switched it to T.Y. So you want to know what the original one was?
Can I guess? Because there were 2 players that came to my mind. It was D.T. or A.J. Green.
It was A.J. Green.
Yeah, and those were the 2 players that came to the top of my mind. Like, if you gave me those 2, I think I'd go with their route. I think I'd go with that player just because their overall peak and, prime was a top, 5 receiver for their time. I mean, even higher. But I think T.Y., he had obviously the year that I said, and he probably had, a couple more years in there that were really solid Pro Bowl level caliber play. But I think Edelman was a fine regular season receiver, but then he, obviously being in the playoffs every single year with Tom Brady is going to benefit from that. But he showed up, and to have 3 rings and a Super Bowl MVP and like a respectable, regular season career, just an overall career. I think on this one I would flip despite my first answer, and I would go Edelman.
Okay. And then the last one I got is going to be Joe Flacco as Tom Holland, and Phillip Rivers as Timothy Chalamet.
Okay. That's a good one. Obviously, Joe's got the Super Bowl. Phillip's got a long career.
Super Bowl and the greatest Super Bowl run of all time, or postseason run of all time, probably, for a quarterback. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah. He played some really good teams yards in that run. Man, this is a good one. This is probably the toughest one yet, because I think Phillip obviously is going to be the better player. But do I value what he did in his career? Again, not having much playoff success really at all. If I had to put I would assume, now maybe I'm disrespecting, but Phillip, I mean, does he have, over 5 playoff wins in his career?
Got 5 on the dot.
I was going to say, I don't think it's many. And you factor in that run for Flacco. Now, obviously, again, not going to peak as high as Phillip, but that's a really valuable run. You got the ring. You still played a long time. You were a respected quarterback. Man, this is tough. And Phillip, I'm almost underrating Phillip because Phillip was really good. Phillip had some really good years in his career and obviously played a long time. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame ballot, or he would have been in it this year if he didn't come back, but now he's got to wait another 5 years. Oh, man. I think for this one, I think I'd go Flacco. And obviously the run holds a lot of weight for this. But I think also Flacco's just like a super likable guy. And I think Phillip, he's got that thing where he'll get under a lot of fan base's skins with his trash talking and his play and things like that. And I think I would go the Joe career. I think I'd go Flacco on this last one. And I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. That run really changes everything. I mean, as you mentioned, that's one of the best playoff runs of all time. So, yeah, on this last one, I'm going to go Flacco.
Okay.
And that was your last one you said you had?
Yeah, that was the last one. These were tough. I was trying my hardest. I was trying to do with current players, but it was just. Yeah. I just feel like they're just too easy for you to answer.
Right. No, I get it. That was fun though. That was a fun little experiment. We have a couple things that I want to go over that went down from this past weekend of football before we start talking about some underrated players and things like that in our league. And not really anything, game related, this and that, despite this being one of the crazy, you know what, I will start that. I didn't come to this with like specific games that I want to talk about. There's really just more like news, like drama and things like that, firings. But I actually do want to talk about some games that went down because we start out on the Thursday night game, which was, I think, without a doubt, the game of the year. We've said that about probably 4 or 5 different games this year. We have our award show that's going to be coming up next episode, and game of the year is going to be an award that we give out. And if I had to just guess, it's going to be close between, this game, the Bills-Ravens week 1. You talk about like the Broncos having the biggest fourth quarter comeback in their history. I think it was 19 points. You have a game like that. The Bears-Packers that happened, 2 days later on Saturday. Some crazy games that have went down this year. But this one, I think, takes the cake for being game of the year. The Rams were down by I think 16 in the fourth quarter. They were like 0-172 all time when trailing by 16 in the fourth quarter. And just like that, off of a Rashid Shaheed kick return or punt return touchdown, the game flipped like that. When it looked like Sam Darnold was going to do his same things of, not really showing up in the biggest games, having some mental breakdowns, throwing some bad interceptions. And the Rams were really dominating this game the whole way. Time of possession, they were handling the line of scrimmage. It looked like the Rams through and through. And the Seahawks kept fighting. They kept fighting. They got stops when they needed to. And my goodness, what a game that was. JSN showing up big in that second half after having a catchless first half. He went for all, I think he had 8 for 96 and a touchdown, all in the second half in overtime. And then on the opposite side, Puka going for 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. That is some nutty stuff from that game. And that even brings me to the Offensive Player of the Year race, which I keep on talking about. It feels like every single episode, but it's reasonable because it's heating up. I think JSN is still favored, but it's only like minus 130 or minus 170. Like he's not favored by that much. Like Puka is right behind him. And the last 3 games from Puka, it makes sense. I don't have the numbers off the top of my mind or on me right now, but I can easily look that up for you. because he has had one of the best stretches. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say from a receiver, in the past 20 years? These are his last 3 games. 7 for 167 and 2 against the Cardinals. And then against the Rams, he went 9 for 189. And against the Seahawks, 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. That's ridiculous stuff from a receiver. I mean, that's what some receivers will put up over a 10-game stretch. He just put that up in 3 games. I mean, my goodness. I don't know who they're going to give it to. I don't know who's going to come out on top of this Opoy race. These last 2 games are really going to determine that, I feel like. But, man, some crazy, crazy stuff. And then we go over to the Saturday night game where, again, it looked like the Bears were dead to rights. The same thing that they do every single game this year, it feels like. And it's like, all right, this one, 2 minutes left, down 10. Their offense has looked bad. Like, it's over. They got to get an onside kick. I don't know if anybody has done that all year. It's like, this is probably over. We're just gonna scrap that. We're gonna call it, and we'll leave it at that. Then they get a field goal to cut it down to 7. And then they line up for that onside kick. And Romeo Doubs, it hurts to see, my man. It hurts to see. But he could not corral it, and the Bears get it. And once they get that, I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, oh, my God, they just got the onside kick. Like, I'm literally saying, I'm in a chat with Jaden at this point, and I'm like, oh, my God, they actually just got this onside kick. Like, they might tie this game up. They go down. They have the 4th down play. And just crazy Bear stuff. And then the throw by Caleb Williams in overtime, which was the highest graded throw by PFF this whole year. I mean, crazy. Dropped in the bucket. An 11 out of 10 pass to DJ Moore. And the Bears clinched a playoff spot after that win. So they're fighting for that number 1 seed in their division, and it looks like they're going to get it after that win against the Packers, and especially after the Lions loss to the Steelers, who have been playing some pretty good football as of recently. So those are a couple games that I just wanted to talk about that I didn't have, lined up to go, but I couldn't go past without talking about them. And the couple bit of news that I do want to get to starts out with a firing with the team that we just mentioned, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. They have fired special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn. The Rams special teams played a role in 3 of the team's 4 losses this season, including this past Thursday night's defeat in Seattle. And I think this just showcases how serious the Rams are to win a Super Bowl this year. You don't see coaching changes made this late in the season very often or really at all. And yeah, it's a very true point. When you look back at some of the losses that the Rams have took, you look back at that like Eagles game in the beginning of the year where it looked like they controlled that game the entire time and they had a lot of special teams miscues. And then you look at this game when they allowed the kick return or the punt return touchdown that let the Seahawks right back into this game. I mean, those are things that you just simply cannot let happen in a playoff run when it's almost feels like a Super Bowl or bust type of thing for them. I mean, you don't know how many years you're going to have Matthew Stafford playing at this level. You don't know how many years you're going to have this young core out here before you got to start paying these guys. And then some of them are going to eventually have to walk because you can't pay everybody. So they have to go all out for it this year. And I think they are the favorite, despite, the incredible comeback from the Seahawks. I do look at the Rams still as the best team in the league. I still do have them as my Super Bowl winner. And they had to make a change. And I think it was for the better. We'll see how this impacts everything going forward, because obviously a coaching change. Now, I wouldn't say this drastic. I mean, it is pretty big, though, because special teams is such a vital part of the game. Like that literally can alter an entire game. Field position is one of the most important things in this game. And if you're giving up, 40-yard kick returns, you're giving up 15 to 20 yards on the punt return, you're giving up touchdowns on those things. You're missing in a blocking assignment. You're making a holding. Like, there's so many things that go into it that this is a big change that needed to happen. And they got it done. So Rams are going all out, and I think this is going to help them out in a big way. The next news that I want to talk about is the NFL is suspending Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf for 2 games without pay for physically confronting a Lions fan during Sunday's win at Detroit. DK Metcalf's 2-game suspension will cost him $277,000 per game, with a total of $555,000. And this is a crazy situation. We all knew this was going to be happening. We all knew that they were not going to take this lightly. This was for sure going to be a multiple game suspension for DK and a pretty heavy fine. Obviously, without pay is kind of his fine. I don't know if I didn't see a report that he had to pay a fine on top of that. I think just, obviously these 2 games without pay is his fine. But yeah, it was a crazy thing. I don't know what the fans said to them. DK Metcalf is going to appeal this. I don't know if he's going to, win that. But I don't know what the fans said. I don't know what led to this altercation, but it was pretty crazy. You don't like to see someone go all out like that to a fan, especially considering how big DK is. I mean, he could literally fold somebody. Now, again, if this fan, said some really inappropriate, bad things, I still think DK should probably keep his composure. Obviously, if they were outside and this guy's, pushing them or saying something like that, then it's different. But I think in the heat of the game, there could have been some remarks that obviously were terrible. But I think you just got to be a professional and not take it to that level. You see a thing where it's like with Lamar Jackson, and I saw some people online comparing it to that. Not even remotely close to that scenario. But yeah, some crazy stuff. And considering that the Steelers are obviously in this playoff push and wanted to make a real run at it, this is not gonna help their cases at all. So a wild situation in Pittsburgh, and we're gonna get some clarity soon on what the fans said and what all transpired into that. So I'm curious what it is, obviously, but yeah, not great stuff over there for DK. And the last bit that I wanted to get into before we start talking about these underrated players, not really some, breaking news, this and that. The Jets defense has still not forced an interception all season long. They've got 2 more games this year. If they fail to do that, they're going to set a record that probably won't be broken. I don't want to say ever, but I mean, I guess no, that would mean that's an unbreakable record because you can't get worse than 0. So that would pretty much be the best you could do is tie that record. So that is some bizarre stuff. This is some stuff. I've watched a lot of bad defenses in my life as a Raider fan, and it's never been to this level. This is some crazy stuff. Some wild stuff from the Jets. Obviously, the Jets are one of the worst teams in the league. They're in a tank mode. But my goodness, I didn't think I'd see something. This is almost not. This might be worse. I was going to say this is almost on par with that Chiefs team who went the entire season with a wide receiver not catching a touchdown. It was literally all tight ends and running backs who caught a touchdown for them that year. This is probably worse. Not even probably. This is for sure worse. But those two, happening in my lifetime is pretty wild. And in my time of watching football, at some nasty stuff over there in New York. They obviously got to make fully changes. I mean, I don't think you move off of Aaron Glenn after 1 year. I think you give it another year. But for him to be a defensive-minded head coach, not a pretty look. Not a good look at all. And it's looking like they're playing themselves out of that franchise quarterback with the Raiders and the Giants, moving up. Obviously, the Giants don't need that, but it looks like one of those two are going to be number 1 and number 2. Now, they could trade up to number 1 if the Giants do get it and the Raiders stick at 2. But, yeah, some stuff that I never thought I'd see in my life. The Jets going a full, not only 17-game season without an interception. They still got 2 more games, but it's looking dicey. So that's everything that I wanted to get into. And let's just do it, man. because I'm ready. I'm excited. I want to talk about some players that don't get much love around the league. And I want to start out with a team, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are currently on a 6-game win streak, and post the trade deadline, acquiring Jacoby Myers from my Las Vegas Raiders, this team looks like a totally different team. You know, I was advocating for Jacoby to go to a contender at this deadline. When we did our trade deadline video, I had him mocked to the Seahawks, which I think would have been a good fit. But man, I mean, it's been a match made in heaven for the Jaguars. I mean, this offense is a completely new, it's a completely new system almost. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks like a whole new quarterback. Through like the first, 5 to 7 games, everybody was like, man, same old Lawrence. I mean, even I was like that. I'm like, how much more time can you give a guy? This guy was looked at as
a different narrative too with the Jaguars. It was their defense,
right?
That was doing a lot for forcing all those turnovers. Obviously, we knew they weren't going to keep that up, but now at this part of the season, it's the offense.
Yeah, it's completely flipped the switch, and you got to give a lot of credit to Liam Cohen coming in and really changing this culture. But the Jaguars, they just needed reliable players on offense. I mean, as much as I was a fan of BTJ, and as much as I like Travis Hunter, and I still think he's going to be an incredible player in this league, those two just simply could not get on the same page as Trevor Lawrence. And it's crazy because obviously I can't even say obviously, because Jacoby Myers is certainly, I think, more talented than Brian Thomas Jr. at this point, considering how bad his second year has been. I don't think he's more talented than Travis Hunter. But considering that those two guys coming into the year looked at as like, you know, Trevor Lawrence has got his guys. He's got offensive help. And it's like they really weren't enough. Like if you were to tell me, oh yeah, you know, come week 15, 16, I think, when did Travis Hunter went out really early? I can't remember the exact week. But anyway, if you were to have told me, you know, during this late stretch that the Jaguars would be missing both of their top 2 wide receivers going into the season, I'd have been like, oh, yeah, you know, their season's over. They're probably fighting for a top 10 pick. They're just going to go ahead and reset it going into next year. But no, this team is fighting for a number 1 seed right now. They just beat the number 1 seed in the Denver Broncos, who had, I want to say, an 11-game win streak at home. And they went out there and dominated them. I mean, really just had control of the whole game. It's some crazy stuff that's going over there in Jacksonville, and it's great to see. And looking at them, I don't want to say that, but as far as the AFC, it really is up in the air this year with the Chiefs being out. You know, even though the Ravens haven't made their run yet, you looked at them to be, they were the Super Bowl favorites going into the year. They're not going to be there most likely. Obviously, Joe Burrow and the Bengals haven't been there the past couple of years. You know, the Bills with Josh Allen are still there, but it doesn't feel the same as previous years with this Bills team. The Jaguars are really right in that mix, man. I mean, you tell me come February they're in the Super Bowl, it's not that crazy. And it's like that for like 4 or 5 teams out in the AFC. It's wild. Like in the NFC, I can really only see that for like 2 or 3 teams maybe. And in the AFC, it is just wide open. Wide open. I mean, anybody can take this. And the Jaguars are certainly one of those teams. I mean, playing maybe the best football of any team over the past, 5 or so weeks. I mean, they are really, really on fire, and it's great to see. This was a team that I was high on going into the year. I didn't think they'd be this good, but I was intrigued to watch them, and they've been a fun watch. Been a great team. I got 4 more players that I want to go over, but who do you have? Because you said you have 3 players that you want to talk about, right? No teams or anything, just 3 players. Who's the first player that you want to show some love to?
You know, this kind of fits well because it piggybacks off the team you were just talking about, and you actually didn't even mention them. And I want to show love to Parker Washington, especially after the big game he just had. Yep. You know, currently this season he's leading the Jags in production while having about the same amount of targets as BTJ. But he's just a really dynamic player, especially after the catch in open space. He's a refined route runner. He's also an underrated part too is his punt returning skills.
Mm-hmm.
Returned two punts for a touchdown this year, and it just seems like in all the close games, especially the wins that the Jags have been having, he's just been a major part in that. Like the Denver game, ended up being a 14-point win, but it was pretty close, throughout that game. Obviously, he blew up that game, went for 6 for 145 and a touchdown. But, I mean, if you look at their other close wins, like the win against Arizona, 3-point win in overtime, 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. They had a 7-point loss to Houston. In that game, he had 3 for 33, a touchdown, and he had a punt return touchdown. Their 1-point win against you guys, he had 8 for 90 yards. They had a 5-point win against the Niners. He had a punt return touchdown in that game. He's just been super reliable for Trevor Lawrence, and like I said, in all these big games, he's really been there, and came up clutch, and had some key moments in those games. Also, want to throw in a fun fact in there. He is cousins with Joshua Dobbs. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, I didn't know that at
random
all for
fact.
sure. Yeah, that's a player I'm kind of mad at myself for not mentioning because he was on the top of my mind when I was talking about their receivers. When you go from, Hunter and BTJ to Jacoby and Parker Washington, you feel like that's a really big downgrade. But like you said, they have just been so reliable for Trevor Lawrence. Every big third down, every red zone opportunity. I mean, they result their targets into catches. That just simple as that. Their target to catch ratio is crazy. That's something that, Travis Hunter and BTJ was not doing for them. So yeah, that's a really good player, and I'm upset at myself for not mentioning that. I'm sorry,
Duval. He's kind of filling in that Travis Hunter role, like what we thought Travis Hunter could be. Obviously not the peak of Travis Hunter, but the role he could be as a rookie. That gadget guy, super shifty, possibly, special teams player. And that's literally what Parker Washington has been this year.
Yeah. Very, 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 very underrated player. It's a great player to start with. I have, like I mentioned, 4 players here. I have 2 kind of like, all pro type of players. And then I have 2 players that, I don't think you've heard the media talk about at all this year. And the 2 players that I want to start.
I'm glad you're saying that because I do have one player in here that is like an all pro. And I was going to clarify, obviously, not the most underrated. Has been all pro in the past, Pro Bowl in the past, but
because I wanted to show love to these players because obviously they're great. Everybody knows they're great, but I just feel like they're on some. One of them is on not a great team, getting overshadowed, whatever it may be. And the first player that I want to start out with is Devon Achane. Devon Achane is quietly having one of the best running back seasons of this year. I mean, he's not at an all-pro level because we have a bunch of great running backs in the year. But once this year is over, he's got 2 more games to add on to these numbers. It's an all-pro type season from a running back, all-pro second team, I would say, depending on what he does over these last 2 games. He has 1,267 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, leading the NFL. 5.8, almost 6 yards a clip, 8 touchdowns on the ground. He has 64 receptions for 459 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's on pace for a 2K season right now, quietly. Just on a rough Dolphins team, just quietly about to put up a 2K, season from scrimmage. Some great stuff from Devon. And Devon Achane was a player that I was kind of out on fantasy this year, and I'm upset at myself for that. And man, as he proved me wrong for sure. I didn't think he was a terrible player, but man, a really just a breakout season from a team, again, that does not have a lot of bright spots. But man, he showed up in every single game. I mean, it felt like every single game I'm checking the box score or I'm tuning into the Dolphins game, and he's got 100 total yards. It feels like every single game. 100 total yards and a touchdown for Devon Achane. 100 total yards and a touchdown, Devon. I mean, it's just consistency. That's all you can say. That's his nickname, Mr. Consistent, Devon A-Chain for the Dolphins. So again, not a super under the radar player that you're not going to hear of, but a player that is quietly having one of the best seasons of any running back this year. And yeah, just wanted to show some love to him. What's the next player that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just get right into mine, who's not a really under the radar player, but Jeffrey Simmons. You know, he's having a career year. I mean, he's having, you know, career highs across the board right now. Yep. Most sacks he's had in the season at 9. Most tackle for losses he's had in the season at 16. You know, he had a safety. He's never done that before. Most QB hits. Yeah, and he's only played 13 games this season. He has 2 games left to play. And, you know, he's, you know, consistently every year he's producing, and he's always in that top 5 range of the defensive tackles. Never really been up there, you can say, with like a Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, whatever. But I think this year, I mean, with those guys having, you know, off years like Chris Jones and, you know, Dexter Lawrence, numbers not being that crazy, I mean, you could honestly make an argument that Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive tackles in the league this year. Just on production and how dominant he's been, you know, on a bad defense too. Like, who else on that defensive line is, you know, putting pressure on the quarterback, you know, making it easy on him? I'm not sure what his double team numbers are. I should have probably tried to figure that out, but I know they probably got to be insane. And he's just been he's been an absolute stud this year, having the best year of his career.
Yeah,
and
that's a great player.
He might make that, you know, that first team All-Pro this year.
Yeah. That's a player that honestly I was very much considering when looking at the, you know, the all-pro level players that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, and he's a player that the
second most pressures among, you know, defensive tackles, and he's the third, you know, highest ranked defensive tackle by PFF. Yeah. I just looked that up, by the way. I didn't have that written down. I had to get those numbers out there.
Yeah, no, he's been, I mean, really amazing this year. He's a guy that I still haven't started yet. I wanted to start making TikTok videos where I'm looking at film, and Jeffrey Simmons was one of the first players that I had marked that I was like really diving in the film. I think it was after their first Texans game where he had like an unreal performance, and I wanted to make a video on it, like talking about how Jeffrey Simmons is the best defensive player in football this year. At that point. But yeah, I mean, a very fair player to give some love to, especially considering how awful the Titans are, despite coming off a huge win against the Chiefs without, you know, Mahomes, and they go out there and lose to the Titans like that. Just shows how rough that Chiefs team is right now, and they got to go into a full reset mode for when Mahomes comes back. But yeah, it's a really nice player to show some love to. The next player that I want to talk about is a player that has made some All-Pros in his career, and this is a conversation that I think is interesting. The player is Kevin Byard, leading the league in interceptions at 6, most likely going to achieve another All-Pro first-team nod. And I think Kevin Byard's career has been so interesting because he is quietly like climbing the interception, you know, leaderboard, even though that's realistically, that's like an unbreakable record that people don't talk about. That Paul Krause record is like never going to be broken. I mean, at the end of the day, quarterbacks aren't throwing as many interceptions as they did back in the day. And for a safety or a corner or anybody to be elite for that long and to have like, you know, 4 seasons with like 8 interceptions is just not likely. But Kevin Byard has quietly been, you know, one of the best safeties over the past decade and is on pace to make his 3rd All-Pro first-team selection, which is crazy. And I think, I wish I could. I'm gonna check this off the top of my head because there was one year that I remember from Kevin Byard where there was talks. He was playing some great football. And I can't remember if he just got fully snubbed or maybe he got injured. I think it was this which year was it? I think it was the 2018 or 2019 season with the Titans. It was after his first appearance at an All-Pro first team. And I thought one of those years he could have got back in there as an All-Pro player, but unfortunately he didn't. And what's crazy about this, if Kevin Byard had got that nod, and this would be his 4th All-Pro first team selection, and he has an 8 interception year, followed by 4, 5. He has a 5 in 2021, 4 in 2022, and then a 6 here. He's up to 35 interceptions for his career. I mean, I like to jump the gun on a lot of players, but a 4-time All-Pro, first team safety, he could get some Hall of Fame buzz. I'm just saying, a 4-time first team All-Pro, that's not a slight. That's not an easy thing to do. 4 times making that and having, potentially when his career is all said and done, over 40 interceptions in his career. Like just a very underrated career. Not only a player this year, but just an underrated career for Kevin Byard. Quietly a 3-time All-Pro first-team player. Well, obviously, if he makes it, which he will, because not only is he leading the league in interception, he's been really good just overall for that Bears defense. So a great player in Kevin Byard, into his 30s now. What's the next player you got on your list?
Next player, or the last player I got, is Dante Jackson.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
For the Los Angeles Chargers. He has really revived his career over there. Coming from the Panthers, and God, I remember how bad Panthers fans used to talk about him, like just literally just burnt toast every play.
He was rough.
But this year, I mean, he's the 4th highest graded corner by PFF. He allows, I think, under 40% completion percentage when targeted. He's got 4 interceptions, which I think is like 3rd in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He's number 1 in the lowest passer rating allowed, and he's 4th in lowest yards allowed per cover snap. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's just been having a really good year this year. Like I said, really good resurgence to his career after, being probably one of the worst corners in the league.
Yeah.
He was on Pittsburgh last year?
I want to say
he had a decent year with Pittsburgh. Yeah, he had like 5 picks with Pittsburgh. Yeah. I remember he had a decent year with them. Not just saying interception total, but like that was first, his start to his career with Carolina was pretty bad. I know he's got these interception numbers, but
yeah,
he was kind of like a worse, I guess, Trayvon Diggs, even in that sense.
Yeah.
Like he was just always giving up touchdowns. But I mean, there's been a lot of corners that are having good years this year, like resurgences in their careers, like Eric Stokes, Emmanuel Forbes, and like I just said, Dante Jackson.
Yeah.
But Dante Jackson's the one I wanted to really show love to.
Yeah, that's a good player, and that's funny that you mentioned one of those, because the last 2 players, as I mentioned, are some really under the radar players, and Jaden just mentioned one of them, and that's Eric Stokes for my Las Vegas Raiders, who has really, I mean, not even crazy to say, been one of the better cornerbacks in the league this entire year. I mean, he has just been consistent. And this is something that I think teams should look at more. When you have a player that was a first-round pick and had a lot of talent and still has a lot of talent and is talented, I think it's worth taking a chance. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a bad team. It doesn't hurt to go out there and go get, the 21st pick in the 2019 NFL draft or the 2023 NFL draft. Like, it doesn't hurt. You're just taking a swing, taking a chance, and who knows, maybe it pays off. And for the Raiders, it has. Who knows if Eric Stokes can keep up this production, in the years going forward. But 16th in coverage grade. He's allowed 25 receptions this entire year. That's the 8th lowest mark in the league amongst corners that have played at least 50% of snaps. He's allowed 251 yards. That's the 5th lowest. And he's only allowed 1 touchdown the entire year. And he's doing that all while only committing 2 penalties. He's only committed 2. He's been playing some great football on a really, really bad defense. A really, really bad defense. And a really, really bad team overall. A team that keeps the defense out there a lot of the times. And when you consider that, a guy that's only allowed 25 receptions and 250 yards with how many times that Raiders defense is out there, it is impressive. It is impressive, and Eric Stokes has certainly earned a fan in me. So I'm hoping he's able to continue this. I'd like to see him back on the Raiders in these upcoming years, and hopefully he's able to keep up this production because, man, has he been worth every single dollar plus infinity. He's been an amazing player on a really, really down team. And the last player that I want to talk about is a player that's been in the league for a while now, and I think similar to Byard, but not to that level. I think he's been underrated for, the past 5 years or so, and that's Poona Ford. Poona Ford for the Los Angeles Rams has been one of the best interior defensive linemen in all of football, and especially when it comes to the run. He's the second highest graded interior defensive lineman, just defense grade, and he's the second highest can I speak? He has the second highest run grade amongst interior defensive linemen. And this is a player where it's not to a level of a Jeffrey Simmons or a Chris Jones or anything like that, where he's going to pop off and go for, 10 sacks in a year. This is a player that you literally have to watch to feel the impact. And trust me, I've watched a lot of Rams games this year. And Poona Ford, just pops out every single time there. I think it was specifically that Niners Rams game. I think it was a Monday night or a Thursday night. I think it was a Thursday night game between them. And it just felt like Poona Ford was all over the field. And this is a player, again, his stats are not going to pop off to you. He doesn't have 12 sacks. He doesn't have 20 tackles for loss. But he's the type of player similar to like a Snacks Harrison, where he's going to draw double teams. He's going to free up that line for that linebacker to come through. He's going to draw a double team to free up an edge. He's going to break off a solo block to disrupt the backfield, force the running back out for a tackle for loss, for an edge rusher, or for a corner on the outside. He's a player that's going to disrupt the game that's not going to show up in the box score. And he's been doing that for a while now. And it's really, really impressive to see. One of the more underrated players in the league, as I mentioned, and a player that, is going to really need to, keep this play up for the Rams to really stay on this trajectory that they want to do. And I expect him to do that. He's been nothing short of that the entire year. And, we look at that Rams defensive line and you look at all the young players, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, all this, Byron Young, and Poona Ford is, up there with a Jared Verse. I think he's their second best defensive lineman, in my opinion. And yeah, he's been great all year. So that's the last player that I really wanted to give some flowers to. And yeah.
So you think he's their second best defensive lineman?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I think got him over Byron Young?
I obviously
Byron Young is a beast,
he's been great and he's got the sack numbers, but I think what Poona Ford does against the run and how much he disrupts the game, I really don't think it can be overlooked. Like I think if I had to try to find a comparison for it, it's like a Derek Brooks, Brian Burns situation. Obviously, those two players are both a tier above the other players that we're talking about here, but I think it's like I think Byron Young has been great this year, but again, he's not like elite against the run. I think he's been very good as a pass rusher, but I wouldn't consider his year elite. I think he's just, surrounded by a lot of great players and he's making the most of his opportunity and he's definitely a really good player. But I think Poona Ford is elite at stopping the run. And I think I just value that a little bit more. Not better than Jared Verse,
by the way.
Not Derek Brooks. Fucking Derek Brown. Derek Brooks. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I have dyslexia. I don't know why I confuse people's names so much when I'm talking about it, but Derek Brown is who I meant. But yeah, I think in my opinion, I think I'd have Poona as second. But it's close. I mean, I wouldn't say anybody's wrong for going Byron Young, but it's just my personal.
I don't know why that just reminded me. You brought up Derek Brown. Remember that year he had like 100 tackles as a defensive?
Yeah.
That's got to be a record, no? Has any defensive tackle done that before? That's just crazy in like hindsight to think about.
I think it was the record. I think I remember
100
when they were
tackles?
talking about that. Because I remember when Max Crosby, I don't think he set the record, but I think he was like up there, like top 5 for most tackles by like a D end. And I think he had like 89 his year. So you'd have to assume defensive tackles aren't close to that. So if he got over 100, that's probably the most.
I can't find a website, but there's a Reddit post. Derek Brown just broke the record most tackles by defensive line. See, this says lineman though. I'm looking for defensive tackle.
It could be overall though. It could be D tackles and D ends. Because like I said, I remember when Crosby had his super high tackle year, he entered I don't remember the exact number on how high he got on that list,
90.
but I remember that was a conversation. Crosby?
I guess. I wasn't even thinking about it. I guess D ends really don't get like nowhere near that much either. What about like Julius Peppers? He's got to have some high tackle seasons, no?
Yeah, he might have some years where
I'm lying. His highest was 65.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, just 100 as a D tackle. That's just insane to me.
Because I was gonna say he probably has some years also where he's not like even listed as a full D end. Like he might be at like a linebacker type of position, but
I mean, a 300 and probably like fucking 30-pound defensive tackle at that. Like he ain't no nimble tackle. Like
right. Derek Brown.
I mean, he is though. He's just not nimble. He shouldn't be nimble.
For sure. Yeah. A player literally that could have made this list, honestly, if we're being honest. Derek Brown has been a great player for quite some time now. But yeah, that's everything really that we wanted to go over in this episode. And we might as well just get into some off the field talk because I want to start this out. We went to go watch, obviously, Avatar this past weekend. Now, I want to do something with you. And this is something that we'll probably do a lot in these episodes or, going forward when we're watching movies. I'm going to give a countdown from 3 to 1, and we're going to say our rating of the movie. And you can be specific, obviously. You can, 7 point this or 8 point, you don't have to just be 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Because I'm interested to see what your rating is. So on 3, I'm going to count down, and we're going to say it. 3, 2, 1. 7.8.
8.4.
So you're a little bit higher on it than me at an 8.4. Is this
my little sister gave a take, and she's usually pretty bad at giving takes, but I actually agree with this one, and I might be crazy for this too, because obviously usually the way it goes, like the first ones are always better, but I don't know. I think I enjoyed part 2 and part 3 more than I enjoyed part 1. And maybe just because I haven't seen the first one in so long, and I just got to refresh. But like they're all like kind of the same movie to me. So and that's like what the critics have with it. Like it's all like kind of the same storyline in every one. Yeah. And I just think the second and third one just, in my opinion, like are just more entertaining. I wouldn't say do it better because maybe the narrative in the first one and just the world building was better, but I think the second and third one, like that, as far as like the action scenes and stuff like that, from a casual perspective, I enjoyed those two more than the first one. Yeah. Like if I'd give the first one, and they're all close though. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Like I think the second one is the best one for me.
Yeah, I agree.
If I give the third one an 8.4, I say the first one's probably like an 8.2, and then the second one maybe like an 8.6. Like they're all right there, close. Like they're great movies. I love the Avatar franchise. But yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I do think the second one is the best. I think I have a couple. I have things that obviously I like from the movie, and like I have a couple complaints that some of the complaints that I have is similar to a lot of people that I've been seeing. And I thought, like, while I was watching this movie, I was like sitting there like, man, this is really distracting from the movie. But Jack Champion as Spider is an incredibly bad actor. Like it just felt like emotional scenes. It felt like his delivery on a lot of like important lines. Like it just wasn't we're gonna get into some spoilers here. Not like anything crazy. All right, we'll do like minor spoilers. I won't go into full detail. But when Jake took him to the forest, it was like that was supposed to be like an emotionally like, and it just felt like Jake saying, or Spider saying like, oh, do you still love me? It's like the way he delivers these lines and like acts is like, it just threw me off like every single time he was in a scene like that. And I don't know, especially considering that it felt like a lot of this movie was like centered around him, like as far as like, you know, them not wanting him to be there, and it's like, oh, you know, they're always gonna try to get after him. We're gonna have to kill him, and it's just like, I don't know, that really just threw me off. I don't know if that was the same thing for you, if you felt that. Maybe I'm looking into it too deep, but I thought that. But then I saw like multiple people talking about this online. Like I'm talking about like TikTok videos, like 100,000 likes of people making videos like just solely talking about his acting, tweets going viral talking about it. And it's like, yeah, it just that part really threw me off like bad. But again, there were some things that I really like. You know, I like the villains in in pretty much all these movies. I like how they're portrayed. Obviously, Jaden likes these villains a lot more than me. Just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, I thought it was an overall pretty good movie. Definitely wasn't better than the second one, but I think I'd have it land at a 7. You know what else I didn't like that also included Spider, and maybe that was just me. When they kissed, I can't remember her name. Is it Kyra? No,
Kitty. Kitty. It's like Kiri, but it's like Kitty.
Is that just
whatever in their language?
Is that just me? Aren't they almost like brother and sister? Was it just me that was
people
like
saying
weirded
that,
out
but
by
I don't
that?
see, because I don't have that feel same way, because I feel like I felt that tension even from the second one, that they kind of, you know, like each other, but I don't look at them as
doesn't
like
he
siblings.
doesn't he call like Jake like dad or
That's
father?
That's what people were saying. I don't remember him calling him that. He's always called him Jake. He's always said Jake.
I remember scene.
That's what I think about. People were saying that. I don't remember him ever really calling Jake, because he's still like, I feel like he still acknowledges the Colonel as his father. Like you see the moments where he's like, you know, he's listening to him. Like he saved him in the second movie. Spoilers there. Obviously, the movie's like 2 fucking years old. I don't care.
Yeah.
But saved his life in the second one, and you know, like I feel like there is that still, that, you know, he kind of cares for his real dad. I feel like he understands that's his real dad. And he can, you know, Jake can be that figure in his life where it's almost like a father figure, but it's not the same. I wouldn't say it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't look at it as like they're siblings, because Jake also isn't really Kitty's father either.
Right.
Even though that's more of a father situation, father-daughter, more than I would look at it as Jake being a father-son to Spider. That's how I look at it. I don't really. But I mean, you're not the only one I've seen other people say that, but I didn't really feel that weird. Because like I said, I still feel like they've made that tension there since the second one, kind of.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I don't know. I just remember when that scene happened. Like that was the first thing that I'm like, bro, are they not like consider like almost like brother and sister in a way? I was like so thrown off when that happened, but I did enjoy it overall. I thought obviously the visuals are great. The Avatar world is amazing. I really hope they make a new video game, because I think the last one was like I don't think. I think they did release a new game, but it was like really underwhelming, and it also like wasn't. Maybe I'm tripping. I want to look this up. I want to say either I'm tripping and maybe like I was just seeing like some like people like having some mods on the game, but I don't think it's very new. Let me see. When did
No,
this
I'm pretty sure
one?
they've only released one game, but I think they
They released one on Steam, but obviously that's not on PlayStation. But it shows 2023 they released one on Steam.
I
Yeah.
think pretty sure that's the Frontier. That's the Frontiers one. That's the same one.
Oh, okay. But
They've
it's
only
just like
released one.
remastered type of thing.
I think so. I'm not. When did it first come out?
That
Avatar.
game, that game came out like probably around when the first movie came out. If I had
Really?
to guess, I can't find
No way it's
the
that old.
original.
2009.
Let me see.
It's Frontiers of Pandora.
Let me see.
Release date. It came out in 2023. Came out like when the second movie came out.
But I'm
So
telling
maybe
you,
it
there
didn't get
definitely
remastered.
was a game. There definitely was a game way before this.
Sure.
But I can't. I promise because I remember like people playing it. Like I'm not even joking. I think I played it. I think I remember having this game, but I just don't remember when this came out, and I can't find nothing. There's a Redditor that posted this. There's an Avatar game. Yeah, there's an Avatar game which I used to have on my old PS3. Let me see. That came out was only on 3AP.
Yeah, they do have an older one on like Xbox 360, Nintendo DS. I don't remember that one, but
Yeah.
was that even like the same type of game? Like a
It was like
open world?
it was, yeah, but I remember it being like pretty underwhelming. Like I don't have like super crazy. Obviously, I was like pretty young when I was playing that, but I remember it was like pretty and obviously it's on a way older system, but I remember it being pretty underwhelming. But
All right. Well, since I mentioned it earlier in the pod, I'll just bring it up here. What's your take on that? I think I know your answer, but the Tom Holland career versus Timothy Chalamet.
whose career would I rather have?
Yeah.
I think without a doubt, Timmy. I mean,
Even
Timmy's
with
on.
Tom being in the Marvel universe, being probably one of your favorite characters ever.
I think at the end of the day, being Spider-Man is cool. Being known as Spider-Man is cool, but I think you also get put in that box, and and whenever I see Tom Holland, it's always gonna go back to Spider-Man, and I also think, I mean, Timmy is leagues above him as an actor. And again, he's on like a GOAT trajectory. Like I'm hyped to see this new Marty Supreme. Like I'm definitely gonna go see this. If not next weekend, then probably the following one. But I mean, this dude like kills it in every single role that he's in. I watched Beautiful Boy for the first time like a few months ago now, and that was like the first movie that like I cried to in like, I mean, I can't remember when. Like he's like that good. Like he's like that good. Like I'm just being honest. Like he's incredible, and it's a good emotional movie, and he kills it in that, obviously with Steve Carell, but he's amazing with everything he touches. And I know some people don't like his. I mean, some people like to call it cocky or this and that when he talks about. I think people blow that out of proportion when they look at some of his interviews and the way he talks. And he was saying how he's motivated to be one of the greats, and he looks at some of the other great actors and actresses, and he aspires to be one of them. But it's like I don't get how people are mad at people having goals and trying to achieve them. It's like it's the same way with like athletes. Like everybody that goes to the NBA wants to be Jordan or LeBron or anybody. People who want to go to the NFL want to be the greatest of all time. Like it should be like that for anything you do. Like literally anything you do in life, you should want to be the best at it. And there's nothing wrong with like obviously voicing it without being like arrogant or cocky. And I don't think he comes across that way. I don't know. I think people blow that over. But yeah, I would for sure go Timmy. I mean, you talk about.
What if we factor in the women? Is that,
I was still go Timmy.
Do you lean Kylie Jenner way or the more natural Zendaya?
I think
if you're just factoring women,
I think
no careers.
I'm me personally. Yeah, give me Timmy. Right, and I love Zendaya. Zendaya's top tier for sure. But Zendaya ain't got that thing back. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got that thing. I think I'd go Timmy for sure on that route. I mean, it's not obviously it's not natural, but golly, bro, golly. Yeah, I think I'd go Timmy. Why would you go Tom or would you go Timmy?
No, I'd go Timmy too. I was just asking what your take on that was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'd go Timmy. I think I'd go Timmy for sure. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us on this amazing episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast, the Christmas episode. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their time with family. And yeah, that's going to do it for us. If you're a new listener, new follower, whatever it may be, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a subscribe, make sure to rate us 5 stars. Until next time, we'll see you guys next week on the official award episode. Peace.